Okay, hello, welcome to my channel. Now in this video, we want to look at the chain rule, right? And now I've highlighted here for you Blackpenredpen style. So I figured out this technique of differentiating functions of functions using the chain rule. Okay, I figured out that this technique or this style, as I've highlighted here, was a very good one, right? And I'm going to show you real quick. So we can call it the chain rule, or we can also call it the Chen Lu. Okay, great. All right. Let me give you a little thing. So suppose we have a function, and now we have that suppose a function y equals to now f of g of x, all right? So that could remind you of composition of function. So y is a composite function of these two functions, f and g, and those two functions are functions of x, where f and g are differentiable functions of x, right? So you can differentiate them. Good. Then the derivative of y with respect to x, which I can also rewrite it as y prime. So this is what I mean. The y, the x, right, which is the same thing as y prime, is now, since y is f of g of x, all right, y prime will be, the first thing is you differentiate the outside function, that is f prime, you write it in terms of the inside function g of x, right, and then multiply it with, you now differentiate the inside function. That is just it. Anyway, you may not really figure this out, but I can give you an example, and then that would make you see what I am seeing right here. Okay, let's just write down an example real quick. So let's have y equals to the square root of 2x plus 1. Good. And now, this right here is y, square root of 2x plus 1. We want to look at y as a function and another function inside a first function, right? So you want to look at y as an outside function and then also an inside function. So this is very obvious. We have an inside function which is 2x plus 1, right? And we have the outside function which is square root of that. So I want to write y in terms of f and g. So what I would do here is to decompose this composition, all right, into these two functions. Since g is the inside function, the inside here is 2x plus 1. So I'm going to call that g, all right? And since it is a function of x, I'll just write the g of x to be 2x plus 1. Good. And secondly, we have f, which is outside of that, right? So this is the inside function, and that is the inside we have there. Then the outside there is just square root, all right? This is how I'm going to write it according to the Blackpenredpen style. I'm going to write the outside function to be f of x. You know, they are the two of them, and they are functions of x, right? Good. To be the square root of, here I'm going to make use of something. I have not shown you what is inside there, right? I'm only showing you the f function, right, to be the square root of something, because here we take the square root to be the outside and then the inside to be 2x plus 1. Good. The next thing we need is to differentiate this, right? When we differentiate, we put g of x inside that box, right? And then multiply it with g prime of x. Good. Let me clear something a little bit, make it proper for you. This is f of something, all right? Great. So let's get started. We need to differentiate the inside function, which is g of x. So g prime of x, that is the derivative of that function with respect to x, all right, is when you differentiate 2x, right, when you have 2x, just by using the power rule, we are going to enter with 2. Good. And then when you differentiate 1, which is just a constant, the derivative there will just be 0. So we are having 2 plus 0, which is just 2 to be the derivative of the inside function. And now let's go ahead and differentiate this function here, f prime of a box, right? Good. And now we have f of something to be the square root of that thing. To differentiate f prime of that thing, we need to know how to differentiate square root of something, all right? For example, let's say square root of x. The derivative there is just going to be, if we have y is the square root of x, then the derivative of y with respect to x will be 1 over 2 times the square root of x, alright? Just by using the power rule. But anyway, let me just put it down for you real quick. This right here is the same thing as the box raised to power 1 over 2, alright? So 1/2 takes care of the square root as a power. And then to differentiate that, we need to make use of the power rule, right? Which is bring this one to the front and then subtract 1 from the power, right? So you're going to bring this right here to the front. That is going to be 1/2. Then we put down the box, and then we subtract 1 from 1/2. That is going to be negative 1/2. Good. And then we simplify this further. We're going to enter with 1 over 2 times the square root of that box, right? So remember, this is the same thing. Square root of x, 1 over 2 times the square root of that x. So now we have square root of this. It will be 1 over 2 times the square root of that, just by applying the power rule. Anyway, let's see what we've got. So this is the outside function, the derivative of the outside function, and this right here is the derivative of the inside function. So when we have y to be that, the derivative of y will be this part, alright, times the derivative of the inside function. So I'm going to multiply this with that. So we're going to have f prime of the box, right, times g prime of x to be, well, f prime of the box is just this, which is 1 over 2 times the square root of the box, and then we multiply that with g prime of x, right, which is noted to be 2. Good. And now let's see what we've got. We have that to be the derivative of that function. But what I would do here is, this box, I'm going to replace it with g of x, alright? It is g, this position, g of x owns it. Just look at it, f, then with a dash, and then inside the bracket we have g of x, alright? Here we have a box, so I'm going to substitute g of x in place of that box. Okay, so when we do that, we will now enter with the whole derivative, which is f prime of g of x times g prime of x to be equal to 1 over, okay, so we multiply this one with the 2, we have 2 over, now 2 times the square root of that box. What is this box? Is the g of x, which is 2x plus 1, right? And now these 2 and these 2 will cancel out nicely, and we enter with 1 over the square root of 2x plus 1. And this right here is the derivative of that given function. Okay, great. All right, thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my channel.